The first cornerstone I want to discuss with you is accept relationships as growth opportunities. I call this an awareness reframe. At the end of this lecture, there will be some collector series bookmarks with cheat notes on them, and I will have these points, these 4 points outlined for you. I've got to remember to put them out by my sign-up sheet, by the way. There's a sign-up sheet for anybody who wants to be on my mailing list and build a long-term relationship. Okay, so reframe your relationships into growth opportunities. You see, we have this mistaken view that, and especially when it comes to personal relationships, that somehow I'm going to get into this relationship, all the music's going to go on, very Hollywoodized or Bollywoodized, right? And that suddenly the music will be on, and all my issues, everything that I'm feeling is missing in my life will be looked after through the other person, right? It's an escape. And then we get like kind of put off when they don't fill that role. It's like, excuse me, you were supposed to be my, and you can fill in that line there. So somehow we've been sold this picture that getting into a relationship will resolve all of those feelings of betrayal, inadequacy, like the insecurities, whatever it is that we're looking for. And that somehow the love that we want to feel in here is going to come from out there. And it doesn't happen that way. There's no escaping from you. And ultimately, I have learned to look at relationships as a process of almost like going to school. It's work. And there are many levels. And so it's not an escape from the self. Rather, it becomes more like a mirror of yourself. Think of all the relationships in your life and look at them as a mirroring process. Carl Jung, the famous psychoanalyst, came up with a way to explain this process through all his years of work with people. And he said that especially in male-female relationships or any relationships that shows the male-female energy dynamic, he came up with the words anima and animus to explain aspects of our being inside that project themselves out in the form of this person or this person or this person in order to give us something back. So that a lot of times when I'm doing the couples work, and this can also work with business partners and friends, it's just a matter of degree rather than the principle. I say to a person, okay, I've heard your story for the last hour, why you think this person has done whatever to you, okay? And you're feeling that this is taking place outside yourself. Have you ever thought about looking at this person as being part of a mirror image, as a part of you that has been created to communicate something to you that you were not getting otherwise? So if you look at it as the male and female aspect of us within, like there'll be men will say, well, when I'm doing couples counseling, says, well, she's always nagging at me. Anybody ever hear that? I'm sure not here, but right? And I go, isn't that interesting? Maybe there's a part of you that you're not listening to, and you're so powerful, you created her to be in your face with it until you heard it. Okay? It's never outside ourselves. One of my colleagues said, yes, like my wife and I are like cosmic sandpaper. And over the years we've rubbed and there have been lots of sparks. But ultimately, it's smoother now. Isn't that great? I noted that. I thought I got to share that. But see, we get very critical because we keep on thinking that whatever's happening here is happening outside ourselves. And I always invite my clients to look for patterns in their lives. When you come for a private session with me, your first session lasts a few hours, and I ask you lots of questions. And you're thinking, why is he talking about my first grade teacher and my fifth grade experience doing this and my third wife and my, why is he asking all this stuff that doesn't appear to have to do anything with it? And my first house I had and the neighbor and how they were with me and, how my dog treated me, for God's sakes. It was like, why does he keep on asking this stuff that doesn't seem connected? But at a certain point I will stop in and say, okay, now, you understand we've been talking about a lot of aspects of your life from a long time ago, from yesterday. And I said, I've been playing a game with you that some of us who are old enough to know about this game, it was a non-computerized version called Connect the Dots. Do you remember that game? Because what you would do is that there'd be all these dots, and you wouldn't see anything. There was no picture. And then you started to connect what you thought were random dots, and when they all got connected, magic! A picture emerged. Likewise, we as human beings are not any different. And if you take some time and play, connect the dots, you will begin to get an insight into the picture, your story, your picture, and how it's been played out. So often I can say to a person, you see your first grade teacher and how you felt you were treated, and your fifth grade experience with the other kids, and then your first boss, and and your third wife, all of that coming together tells me, and then I will fill in the picture for them. And they go, oh my gosh, I never saw it. I never saw the pattern playing through my life. So the first thing I wanted to do was bring it into their awareness. See, because without awareness, we are nowhere. And once it's in your awareness, then we can say, let's not judge it. Let's understand it. And now let's see where you wish to be in your relationships. Do you want kinder? Less turbulent, less conflict, more support? What is it that you're looking for in life? And then let's look at how we can change that pattern and ultimately that picture. But it all comes from an inside-out approach where you begin to understand yourself and you watch this magic taking place. Because we can't give what we don't got. We only give what's in here. And if we want our lives to change, to be whole, and to attract wholeness and support in our lives, then we need to first establish it here. Another person cannot be the love for you. They can share in your love, and they can resonate with it, but they'll never be the love for you. That has to be the primary relationship here. There's three kinds of ways to experience relationship and learn. There's the relationship with the self, there's the relationship with each other, and then there's the relationship with the source of all that is. It doesn't matter which road you take, the principles are consistent. So you don't have to be married to be a great marriage counselor, okay? Or you don't have to be a priest to understand life and spirit. You can be, but you don't have to be. Okay? You can, to understand yourself is to understand the universe. It's one of a very old saying that comes back from thousands of years. Know yourself and you will know the universe. You will know life and how it works. That was the path that the Buddha took. You thought this dude was hanging around under a tree, not doing anything. What a bum, right? But he did figure out to the 27th decimal degree the size of the smallest particle in the universe. And he didn't have to go to any physics classes or crack any books. Isn't that amazing? To know yourself is to know the universe. We will talk a little bit more about that in a sense in the form of conflict when we do the Sailing Through Conflict presentation. So the first Accept Relationships as Growth Opportunities asks you to do an awareness reframe. Let's take a 180 and challenge ourselves as to how am I approaching relationships in life? Am I expecting them to do the work for me? Am I expecting them to be the magic pill that will make everything okay? It does not mean that we cannot have support from each other, but you cannot give what you don't got, period. And luckily, within each of us, we have what we need. We've just never taken the time to stop and look within and access that.